Established over 100 years ago, Watkins Books is one of the world's oldest and leading independent bookshops specializing in esoterica. We have the widest selection of esoteric books in the UK, and our friendly and knowledgeable staff are here to assist you in a unique ambience of our shop. So come and visit us in the heart of London as we're open every day.
The Moore Show is supported by Mindscape, Paranormal and UFO Matrix magazines. Available for download on all major digital platforms.
You know, I've been doing this work for 45 years. And over that time, I invented my own technique. I began to find out new things that came in that nobody else had ever discovered. So big and so important, so we called it QHHT, because it's way beyond past life regression. And this is the healing technique that we've now been teaching it, well, since 2002, that's 12 years. Well, as part of this technique, the very first thing that you do is take the client into a past life. Past life is just the very, very beginning. Then we go to this great power that I work with. To please take advantage of the training that is now available online. You can find it through my website, DoloresCannon.com.
The comments and views expressed on The Moore Show are those of the people that make them and do not necessarily reflect the view of Kevin Moore, The Moore Show, or this radio station and its affiliate or sponsors. This show is for entertainment purposes only.
Broadcasting from the UK and across the world online, you're now listening to the UK's only alternative late night talk show, and I'm Kevin Moore. For the next hour, I'll be covering subjects that will open up your mind and provide you with information you may have never heard before. On today's show, I'm about to be joined by my guest Pleiadian channeler, Kate Sparks. Now, Kate was born and raised on a farm in central Illinois. Kate and her husband David currently reside in Arizona on Spruce Mountain, a light and sacred mountain. This sacred area is connected to the Pleiadians, and light work is done in their medical wheel and tipi. Now, Kate is a voice channel for the Ascended Masters. She provides spiritual readings by phone or in person at the Pleiadian Starseed Center in Prescott, Arizona. Her readings often include a variety of energetic healings by the Masters. The readings assist in healing the emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental bodies. Kate is a Pleiadian starseed, working here on Earth for the ascension of humanity and the planet. It's her goal and wish to unite the starseed families with their grounded Earth members. It's not long now, she says, before the Great Shift and the Mass Awakening. Kate is in the service to those who want to know more of who they really are. Kate Spark, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for having me. It's a real treat. Thank you.
It's an absolute honor to have you on, and we've got so much to go through today. Just tell the audience a bit about yourself and a bit about your upbringing as well.
Well, I live in Prescott, Arizona. I am a spiritual reader. I do spiritual readings and energetic healings. I was born and raised on a farm in central Illinois, obviously a rural area. Several miles from the nearest small town. I was spiritually awake as a child and then kind of closed down, and then eventually found my Pleiadian heritage and what I've been missing and longing for most of my life, really. So it's been an adventure, a lot of ups and downs, and here I am.
Well, we're really pleased that you're with us right now. Now, reading your book, and it is an interesting read, and I like the way you've written the book. It's simple and it's easy to read, and I think that and a lot of the key information in there is really, really good stuff, and we'll get into that. But just going back to your childhood, growing up in central Illinois, now, was you a sort of was you sort of a lone child in a sense? Was it always very difficult to want to be with people?
It was. I was more quiet and shy, I guess. I like to be alone, but not really alone. I didn't like to be. Let's see if I can phrase this. I felt alone a lot, but I didn't like to be lonely. But I wanted to be left alone, and I couldn't figure out what that was about. And then I realized later that I was missing my star family. I was missing my Pleiadian family. I didn't overly resonate with some of my family members. They did the best they could. I think we all do that on Earth, but I was very much missing my Pleiadian family. I might have been described, I guess, as meek or very shy and quiet, and I have really learned a lot from that time.
It's been a process. I bet it has. And in your childhood, there was never no sort of UFO experiences?
No, I never saw ships. I felt the presence. I did not see them, but I felt them. And at nighttime, I would see images. And when I would go to sleep, I would see lots of faces and places through my third eye.
And what sort of size family was it? Did you have many brothers and sisters?
I have 2 sisters and 1 brother, and both my parents have transitioned.
In the book, it starts off talking about star seeds on Earth. Now, just for the audience who may not know what that is, just quickly explain that.
Well, there's different definitions out there. Some say it's memories of fifth-dimensional star systems of living there. Some say it's in the DNA. I think it's a combination of those, of the physical traits and the physical energies. I look at it in a magical way because that's fun for me. I think of someone picking up Pleiadian stardust and sprinkling it onto the Earth. So I consider myself stardust.
Okay, and you would say that you've had previous incarnations on planet Earth. This isn't your first, but you have had past lives on and with the Pleiadians.
Yes, that's where I came from on this incarnation, onto the Earth. Yes, I consider that my home. Yep,
absolutely, and. When was the shift for you in life where you realized that you were from Pleiades and that you had Pleiadian connections? Where did that happen? How did that occur for you?
Well, the loneliness and the sadness it was just so intense most of my life, and then it just came. It was just so overwhelming. It was about, I guess, 10 or 15 years ago that I started inquiring, and then kind of woke up more into a spiritual group. But I knew that group wasn't Pleiadian. It wasn't the star family I was looking for. And then eventually I got on the internet and just started Googling, places where someone can be from. And then I found the Pleiadians, and I found a channel who told me about myself, which it all fit. It made sense, and my life changed from that moment of the channeling session. I felt so much more peaceful and at ease, and it was just a huge moment for me to finally have found where I'm from and who I'm missing.
I bet it was.
Yeah. I always thought something was wrong with me. I mean, I don't fit in, or what's wrong, and why isn't this working? So.
And that channel, was that through hypnosis, or was that just through a sort of psychic or intuitive person?
It was intuitive reading. The person channeled other star beings And my teacher and guide came through to him. And my teacher and guide, the Pleiadian guide is Ptah, so he came in, and it was the most fantastic 50 minutes I think I've ever had. So, and got me to where I am today about writing a book about the Pleiadians.
Incredible. And I mean, did you sort of read up on any other authors in the field as well at the time?
I did. I looked at other star systems I could have been on. I think I know I visited a lot of them. But I just felt, okay, it's Pleiadian. I'm from the Pleiades. This is for me. I know I've been on Arcturus. I have a full family there. Several of my friends are Arcturian. I've spent a lot of time on the Central Sun with Sananda. I'm very comfortable with the Ashtar Command and the Pleiadian Command. They interact, so I'm frequently on Ashtar's ship, and I'm very familiar with him. But Pleiades is home.
Absolutely, and when reading your book, it was quite incredible actually. That the material that you've got in that book matches up with other material that's out there as well, especially hypnosis material. For example, there's a lady called Dolores Cannon, and she talks about these waves of volunteers who have volunteered to come to this planet, who aren't initially have had many lives here, or none at all, some of them, and they've come here to make a difference like you have.
Yeah, I volunteered. I'm not sure that I had to come back. They tell me that I wanted to come back, which is still hard to process. But I'm of course pleased to be here, because I know we're all needed. I know we came for the planet. The calling went out, and we're here. We came.
And we'll get. I won't get too complicated here, because we'll get into some of that, further on in the book. But it seems to me as well that we are multi-dimensional beings. That yes, you're Kate Sparks here now, but your soul is also incarnate, and it possibly is incarnated in other places at the same time as well. And your book sort of touches on this.
That's one of the goals, or my goal, one of the goals of the Starseeds, and probably everyone at some level, is to have multidimensional presence, to know that you're here and you're there and you're everywhere. So that's very much what I'm working on, and that was part of the book, in channeling my higher self, my Pleiadian self. I am Oshala in the Pleiades, and I'm Kate on the Earth.
And Oshala is contactable now. I mean, you've contacted her, haven't you? Well,
she's doing most of this interview because Kate was a little nervous. So really, I'm both now. Well, we always all are, but I'm just a little more aware of it.
Well, I appreciate that she's here and she's helping you out right now, and there's lots of love. I can feel that. Your stories, you may not think, but it's got a lot of multi dimensions to it. Where was the shift for you then, when you started channeling these Pleiadians, or the Pleiadians, the family that you've got now, yourself? When was that first moment? Do you remember when you first started channeling, and rather than having to go see an intuitive, you were doing it yourself?
Well, I think I know we all do it. All the time. That's how we get along on the Earth. We channel all the time. From the moment we're born, I just happened to shift it into voice channeling. But I think I know everyone channels. I just had been around several voice channels, and I'd gone to some workshops, and I saw them do it, and I thought, I can do this. I've been doing card readings, and I was very psychic as a child. I have a knowingness, and I thought, I can do this. I can speak it, and so I just started practicing and with some friends, and then here it is. I was a little nervous about channeling myself for myself, because I've heard at times that can be difficult, because you get in the way of yourself sometimes. So I automatic write, and that keeps my hands busy and my head out of it, and then I can bring it forth for myself.
Yeah, I mean that was an amazing step that you took there, and that trust that you had to give yourself as well in that moment, and most people don't get to that point. So that's incredible that you did that, and just look what it's brought about. So okay, well, your book talks a lot about love as well, and it was incredible. One of the lines that stood out. So ever say only a few words how love actually frightens people.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? I'd forgotten about that. I remembered it, but I'd forgotten about it, and then I remembered, and I remember being fearful of being loved. So I thought, if I just love more, if I'm kinder, if I'm more polite, if I get better grades, if I, do everything right, they'll love me, or they'll stop, as Batal would say, acting in lower dimensional, lower energy, and they didn't. And I thought, and I could see, when I just loved them, I could see that they were frightened of that. They were looking at themselves like, gosh, I'm being unkind, and how can you love me when I'm being unkind? And then that just frightened them. And the harder I worked at loving them, I think the more frightened they got. It's weird, isn't it?
Well, it makes a lot of sense, and we're going to get more into love within the interview as well, because it's key to your work, and I know that from speaking to you off air as well. Now, when you connect with the Pleiadians, it's all through your third eye. Is that right?
A lot of it is through my third eye, but I'm clairsentient, so I feel them. And sometimes I will hear them, but it's mostly through my third eye and through feelings. And then they activate. I always seem to be getting another level of activation of remembering. As the veil thins, we also grow higher in our consciousness.
Now, there's many. I would say in the universe, the infinitiveness of the universe, which I've never got round my head. Just what is infinity? There must be many different races out there. So the Pleiadians is one of the many races. Why them? I wonder. In a sense, when I say that, I mean. They seem to be more prominently channeled than any other race.
Well, they're our ancestors. They're human from the Dom species. They would look like us. They look human. Earth is so polarized. You can imagine what would happen if someone very loving and kind who looked different than humanoid, how they would be accepted on the planet. So I think that's one of the reasons also.
And would you say then that okay? So when you're communicating with the Pleiadians, one question I wanted to ask before is some of it through channeled writing as well?
Channeled writing and through my visits astrally to the ships and to the Pleiades itself. It's through channeled writing, and my third eye, I'll see them and they'll do gestures or do some energy work with me, and then I can also lightly hear them at times. I get guidance from Batal especially. I'll ask him questions and I'll hear the yes or no, and he'll send me his thoughts. He's always offers me to take his view, and that's helped me quite a bit through my life. So there's many ways that I can connect with him. Some don't like to channel as much. Some are a little more quiet. Some that's not their focus in my lifetime now. So it just depends on how they want to come through to me.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And when they do come through, I mean, these are beings of they're in the fifth dimension in a sense, aren't they? They are pure love, but they're also very highly technically evolved as well.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh, yes. They are. That's how I look at it. They are pure love. They're highly intelligent. They're very skilled. Technology, the equipment, the computers. So when I visit on the ships, they'll take me into the computer room and see the technologies and the machines, the biofeedbacks. They have computers that they can put onto someone with that person's permission and see their entire life. So sometimes I'll work with those machines when I'm up astrally visiting on the ship and in the Pleiades. When I visit the temples, we do crystal work, energy work.
Wow, that's incredible. And I also read in your book as well that they on their home planet, I'm quoting here, that their population is about 1 million?
Or less than 1 million. It's not crowded.
Yeah, I mean, that was an incredible thing, because the thing about this book as well, it's really about the some of the lifestyle of the Pleiadians, and also they were trying to get through to you their main core teachings for us as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you'd said earlier, plain and simple, and that was my job. They wanted it written plain and simple, so it could reach a large number of people, and to talk about life on the Pleiades, to know that they are wonderful, light, love beings, to get away from the extraterrestrial energies sometimes that people put on them. I refer to them as extra-dimensionals. It sounds just a higher vibration than extraterrestrial to me. People sometimes think little green men, I guess, for that, which I suppose there are. I don't know, but that was my job. That was my mission, is to talk about Pleiadian love, and more love needs to be on this planet. And really, love is all there is. So I said, okay, I can do this. I can write this book plain and simple like they asked me to, and write about love.
Now, you were mentioning just before the ad break about all there is just love, and this planet needs a bit more love. I've got lots of quotes in front of me from your books, from your book, shall I say? Because they're really good stuff. And where do we start? Well, let's have a look. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so one of the quotes is, you are taught to love others and be tough on yourself. Learning to love yourself has at times been difficult and quite a process. That's so true. We in general, do we love ourselves enough?
No. You asked if we loved ourselves enough?
Yes.
No, we don't. That's my opinion. I don't think we do. I was never taught to love myself.
We're taught so easy, aren't we, to love others, and that is true. We should treat others as our brother and sister, no matter if they're not within in the family. But what is the process, do you think, of loving yourself? It sounds so silly to say that, but what is would you say, in your opinion, some of the steps we could take to love ourselves?
Well, I wasn't even recognizing myself at a certain point in my life when it got to be the worst. I put myself on the bottom of everything, and was completely giving all my power away, very little self-worth. I thought, okay, well, these are two things I need to shift. I was very difficult on myself, very hard on myself. I told myself negative things. One of the challenges in there is Ptah taking me up, and we're listening. I can't see who the people are, and we're listening to a conversation. And I said, Ptah, one person is being so hard on the other. And he said, well, look closer. It's you talking to yourself. And I thought, oh my gosh. So simple things, honoring yourself, valuing yourself, saying nice things about yourself. So simple, and yet I still hear people be hard on self.
Yeah, and you know what you've just said there, when you mentioned that, where is it here? Yeah, that's right. What you just said there, when you say that you know, when people are hard on themselves, or you know, they're comparing themselves, or whatever, you know, the qualities that you just mentioned there are often, you know, the underlying points to people being starseeds, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a main theme around a lot of the starseeds, being hard on themselves for not waking up earlier, being hard on themselves for not loving enough. I think we're very critical of ourselves sometimes, but that is shifting, is more love is coming to the planet as we're awakening up onto another level. I see a lot of that shifting. But I had to learn it.
Oh, yes.
Sadly.
Oh, yes. Yes. So now you can look back now and not be so hard on yourself and realize that it was a process you were going to get to where you are now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hadn't I gone through all that, then I wouldn't be here now. Hadn't I experienced lower behavior on this planet, then how would I know about love if I didn't know fear? Exactly. And how would I appreciate it more? So
exactly, and you know, and that quality, that wanting to go home before, I would have thought for yourself that's probably stopped now, because now you've taken responsibility that you chose to come here, and actually it was of great service to the Pleiadians and mankind. Oh,
thank you. Yeah, I'm still homesick, but I have given up wanting to go home, because I know I see the bigger picture, and I know why I'm here, and I know why we're all here, and we all need to be here, and we're all connected. We're all in it together. So I'm dedicated to my mission.
You know, one thing about sorry, I was saying.
Yeah, go ahead.
One thing about reading your book as well is the Pleiadians, they're very interested in feelings, because coming to this level, you know, you really get to feel things, don't you? And where they're from, it's not quite like that, is it?
No. No, that's one of the reasons I incarnated, because I wanted to feel these thoughts. I wanted to feel fear, because how can I teach about what I don't feel? That's what Oshala says. That's what we say. I can't teach what I don't feel. And Randall in the book is a very loving young man, and he's very interested in the feelings here, because there's no one on the Pleiades who is suffering, who is in fear, who is verbally or emotionally abused. He's very interested in that. And he doesn't feel it at his level. He can comprehend it. But when he came down to channel with me, he was almost overwhelmed at all the feelings and emotions that I'd had through this life and all the other lifetimes. So he was very excited for the learning.
Yeah, and that you've remembered your connection.
Mhm. Mhm. You know, I was happy to be with one of my colleagues.
This is a very special time for mankind right now, and for Earth. You know, we are going through an ascension. You know, to be having me and you have this conversation right now, you know, and other people watching it and gaining information from it. That's part of the ascension. I would say that, you know, that there must be a lot of interest in planet Earth right now. Would you say?
Oh yeah, I've heard that many times, and I feel that truth. It's the main attraction in the galaxy. Everybody's looking to see what Earth is going to do, how it's going to work. It's a very exciting time. And I think that's another reason I came back in this town, in this point. I'm like, oh, this would be very exciting. Let's go now, Kate. So.
Yeah. And they do visit the planet Earth, don't they?
Yes. Yes, they do.
And how often is that? Would you say? I mean, is it something that they're cloaked in a sense? Sorry, they're cloaked in a sense, and they're always here.
They're always here. They're here in the smaller beam ships, and I'll say on the mothership is in the Jupiter quarter, but the small beam ships are always around. I had a good friend send me lenticular cloud today over Spruce Mountain, over our home. She said, "Hey, look what's over your house today, driving back." I said, "Oh, great! Must be some Yazi or someone." I felt very close to whoever was in the ship, so I know they are here all the time. I have heard, and I felt the truth that there's a beam ship for every starseed on the planet.
And for them to know that connection with you, that you've reincarnated with a previous life with them, their veil in a sense must be a lot less, as in they must remember their connection with Source almost completely compared to what we do.
Yeah, I missed that connection to Source when I was little too. But there's locks and seals on our consciousness.
Yeah, and that's another thing as well. Is I suppose people could say, well, why aren't they interacting more? Why aren't they showing themselves more? Well, I think, would you say that's because one, they wouldn't want to get involved in the karma of Earth, and two, that's not what a spiritually evolved race would do.
Correct. Yeah, they don't want to be. I think. Yeah, they don't want to be drawn into the third-dimensional karma. And that's not their place. I mean, we came here to do it ourselves. They can give us some assistance, but they're not. I don't feel that they're going to come in and run the show, so to speak.
What would you say, like a day-to-day life is like on Pleiades? I mean, there's obviously there's no money. There's no sort of you have to go to work. How could we embrace their system and bring it more into ours, or could we?
I think we can. I think we do in different parts of our life. I do that here in my home. I'm fortunate to have that kind of situation that I'm in, be able to do more of that. There are days, of course they don't have days, but their time is filled, and they don't have time, but it is filled with meditation, with schooling, dreaming, with visiting, group activities, working in the temples, holding and carrying light. It's different than here, but in some ways it's not, Kevin. I mean, I do that myself. I send a meditation, and I work at holding and carrying and emitting light and love, and I do my spiritual work here. When I'm connecting with Oshala, in the morning when I wake up, I said, well, what are you doing today? What am I going to do, and how are we going to do this together? And I'll come up and be with you, and you'll be here, and we'll be one, and let's do my day here, and let's work with your life there.
And your partner as well. I mean, ultra supportive. With the work that you do. Have you ever looked deeper into your connection with your partner, like past lives, or why you chose to have met to support each other the way that you're doing?
I looked in a little of past lives, but that I was told no. So I couldn't get any information at that time. But I feel we've had other lifetimes together. I think one is as pioneers and then the Native American. We came together. I've heard. I feel that's true. And this was channeled as me, a bit of a spiritual teacher for him. And then he is supportive in some of the 3D ways, but he puts fifth-dimensional light onto the 3D ways to help me. So it's a mutually beneficial, loving relationship. I feel very, very blessed to have to be with my husband. It's a beautiful relationship, one I haven't had so much in this lifetime. So I'm grateful to Spirit.
In your book, the reason I asked that question, right, because in your book, one of the main lessons on planet Earth, one of the main lessons on Earth are taught through relationships.
And in particular, relationship to self. I mean, that's Bata's teaching. It's all about the relationship, a relationship to yourself, to your boss, to your children, your relationship to love. Some people are almost allergic to love. So it's all about the relationship.
And with love as well, isn't it crazy how we talk about unconditional love, yet we do have conditions about whom we'll love and when we'll love, and that needs to change as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's in the book quite a bit too, of conditional love, and I didn't realize that I was doing that to myself for years. I would look at something like I failed at this, or I was doing this wrong or that wrong, and I conditionally loved myself. I thought, oh my gosh. And then I could see how that would manifest into the physical, with physical problems.
And do you have kids as well, or?
No, we do not.
Okay. Just moving back a bit as well, when we talked about karma. Now, you mentioned that you had previous lifetimes before. Do you think you had any past lifetimes on Atlantis at all?
Oh yes, I was in Atlantis. Very much was in Atlantis. That was a hard life for me. I gave away my personal power and didn't honor myself. I did not have a pleasant departure from Atlantis, and that was difficult for me. From what I know of many of my past lives on Earth, I was doing spiritual work, intuitive work, psychic work, and was not always honored for my gifts. And I allowed others to, because I'm an active participant. They got my permission. I did it myself, of course. Allowed others to take my power and misuse it. So that's another reason. I think I probably shut down a little bit in this lifetime because I was afraid of the psychic work and getting hurt or being made fun of, or coming to a brutal ending, so to speak. So I was nervous about channeling. I didn't really want to take that step, but I knew that I had to because I had to clear the other lights.
Well, all I can say is good on you for doing it, because and we'll get into your readings as well. But I bet you're helping a lot of people, and that's great. And with the past life in Atlantis as well. I wonder if beings like the Pleiadians, I wonder if they had a more visible interaction with us back in time, back then.
Oh, yes, they did. And I know in Egypt, in ancient Egypt, they did. I had a lifetime there. And I remember, I have memories of the ships coming in and out very freely, very openly, much more accepted, of course. It was hand in hand at some points on the Earth with our galactic friends.
Why do you think it is then that they've become less visible and lost in history?
I don't know. That's a good question. First popping to my mind was our disconnecting from Source, our sometimes lack of spirituality, and when it comes, I guess, right down to the basic, is fear.
God, that's a good answer. Yeah. As in the sense that mankind went through a bit of a fall. You're right there. We as science came in and everything else, we lost something. We lost our connection with what always has been there, the spiritual essence. Because when you look at the challenge that you've done, The Pleiades work hand in hand with spiritualism and science, even to the point where the ship's computers, if you can even call them that, I mean, I'll use that word, they're conscious.
Yeah, there's no separation in the Pleiades with spirit and anything. They're always in spirit. And I think Randall talked on that a bit too. Or he talked about joy. He said, we're always in joy, but here on Earth we reserve it for special occasions.
One thing I'd like to talk about as well is change. Everything changes, doesn't it? But sometimes we don't want to change, do we?
Right. No, we don't. Yet changes work sometimes.
In your book as well, you do talk. One of the challenges that came through is that we should embrace change. Yeah, and that would be part of our ascension as well. What would you say?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, but I guess what I was thinking when you were repeating that, change can be hard and difficult, and people don't like change. But maybe change could possibly be a bit of ego, of holding on, and fear. Yeah, and I suppose part of that change could be for someone, for example, could be finding their life's mission. Now, has that been talked to you about? Have you had communication about that? Are we all on a mission in a sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah, people ask me what is my mission? What am I to be doing? I said, well, you're doing it. You're doing it. And they've talked to me about my mission, about writing the book and bringing love into the planet. But it took me a while to figure that out, because I didn't know I was Pleiadian when I was little, and I didn't know about bringing love to the planet. So they told me in the perfect timing, of course. Absolutely. And, as you've just touched on there, I mean, your mission could be to be a hairdresser. Your mission could be to be an accountant. Your mission could be whatever. But, within all those jobs, you could ask yourself, how much am I loving it in this moment? Mm-hmm. How much yes, that's what it's about, how much am I unconditionally loving. I've had someone say, well, Pleiadians, they're psychologists and astrophysics and PhDs, and I thought, no, the Pleiadians are in all walks of life. Some are bus drivers, some are school teachers, some are janitors, some are astrophysicists. But we're all over the planet doing different things, but we're always in love. Yeah. And, even in your last chapter, I remember reading it, and it said, and I know we're talking about a lot about love here, but this is the core key to a lot of your work as well. It was basically saying, how, when you look back on your life, one of the key things is, how much did you love? Yeah, that, I mean, yes, people are, I myself included, have been there, and I completely understand. They're concerned about how much money they make, what size clothing, they're fitting into, how big is their house. But when they ascend, that is not going to be the questions that are asked of them. It will be, how much loving were you? How loving were you? How much light did you give? How did you handle love on this planet? You mentioned ascension there as well, and some people just wait to, I just almost live in their life just to wait to pass on sometimes, because they've lost their spark in a sense. And I remember reading one of the channelings, and it said, I will do my best not to wait every day for the ascension. I will live more fully and in love for everyday life and appreciation of it all. Mm-hmm. That was channeling for me. Every now and then, I would get fed up. I'd say, well, when's the ascension? I'm ready to go. I have my etheric bags packed. And Pleiades has done many talkings with me. Please, let's live large. Let's live fully. Let's be the love on this planet you said you're going to be, and let's do that. Let's not wait for the Ascension, Kate, because the duality at times is hard to process here for me, and I see dense behavior, and that's tough. And I think, well, you know what? I'm just going to kick my feet up and wait for the Ascension, and then I feel a tap on my shoulder and a remembering and knowing that onward we go, so to speak. So, but I had my moments.
Well, it's an ongoing process, isn't it? I mean, it's you know, and do you find that when you give readings to people, that it's a reading for yourself as well?
Oh, yeah, there's usually something in there for myself or something that I've gone through already. What is that saying? The teacher teaches what they need to learn or something. And I, probably every reading I've done, there's always something in there for me, and it's always something that I've experienced in a way or on another level. I tell people there's nothing you can say or tell me I probably have not experienced myself, and if I haven't, and either way, I love unconditionally and I accept.
What would you say is the most common theme in some of the readings then?
Personal power and lack of self-love.
Yeah, I bet it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's what's in your book as well. It's one of the main core keys, things that we're here to learn. Do you think? I mean, do they talk of a time when there will be a shift where they will make themselves known?
There will be. Mm-hmm. There will be. There's no doubt in my mind.
Do you think that'll be in our lifetime?
I hope so. I do hope so.
What difference would that make, do you think, to mankind? I mean, do you think it would scare the bejesus out of us, or do you think the majority of people, it would shift them in such a way that of lost knowledge in a sense?
It would shift them in such a way that our galactic friends would be more accepted and would be welcomed. I hold that thought. I know there are incarnated ascended master Pleiadians on the earth now. I know they come in and out. I know some in the seventh and the higher dimensions who can come in and walk on the earth and not have to go, not be concerned about the earth karma. Those are the higher dimensions who come through the Pleiades. They can be on the earth. So I know of a few that will come in and come out.
Yeah. You know, and I think there's more Pleiadians on this planet, that are just like yourself, that have chosen to live a life or incarnate as a human being. I mean, it's just so obvious when you think about certain people, and you think, well, yeah, it does fit.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a need for more Pleiadians to be on the earth.
Oh, absolutely. And do you think that they have interacted with world government officials in a sense, or?
Oh yes, yeah. I think Aaron talked about that, sending down information, sending down light, because there are Pleiadians in the government. There are light workers and starseeds and positions of power, I guess, so to speak, in the politics and the government. There has to be, but there needs to be more. Yeah.
I mean, it's a strange old world, isn't it? Yeah. It's a strange place. I mean, with other authors that I've interviewed, as well. They say that coming to planet Earth is like incarnating into a nursery in a sense, but it's needed. It's chosen by the soul to want to come down here to have this disconnection and to remember who they truly are.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yes, and that was one of something I went through. I was being hard on myself for not remembering who I was, and I was angry that I didn't wake up earlier and that I didn't know and that I didn't remember. And so I thought, I'm being hard on myself. I'm comparing myself, and that's some of a part of the mission is to come down not knowing. And if you don't know, then how do you know? And I wanted to experience what it was like not knowing. I don't want to experience that again, but I went through that, and I didn't really enjoy it. I'm so pleased, and I'm very grateful to be where I am now with a little more knowing.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, there are more and more people now, like yourself, who are channeling Pleiadians. Do you ever communicate with other channelers?
I do not. I'm familiar with them. I've read some of the beautiful works of Barbara Marciniak and Barbara Hand-Clow, but I don't know them. I've not met them or communicated with them. When I think about them, I always have a very nice, pleasant feeling. I feel kindred spirits. But I don't read a lot of recent work on the Pleiades. I kind of keep to myself on that.
I think that's what's unique about your work as well, is that because you haven't really, I might be, talking out of stance here, but because you haven't submersed yourself with too many different authors in this field, and I'm not just talking about Pleiadian, but maybe regressive authors and stuff like that. It also helps to validate your work as well, that it's the same information but from a different source.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I read some of the Pleiadian channelings years ago, but I haven't read some and read recently. I'm just to keep to myself and keep my own thing going. So I'm not familiar with other Pleiadian channels' work. Though, like I said, when I think about them, I hear their name, I always have a nice feeling. I think, okay, there's a sister there.
Yeah.
There's a galactic friend. I've studied some Arcturian work and some other channelings from other people on Earth, but not so much other Pleiadian channelings.
Now,
and that's my mission. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be doing, Kate, you have this information, this is who you are, this is what you're from, you can do this yourself. So,
and you
but
are.
I understand. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But I understand both ways. Either way is perfect, and there are lovely Pleiadian channels out there.
Now, when people can get a reading with yourself, it doesn't have to be face to face, does it?
No, it's usually on the phone.
Right.
Yeah. I can't do them in person. I do them at workshops, private sessions, but they're usually on the phone. Okay.
Well, and for people to get in contact with you, they can just go to your website, which is
Kate@katesparks.com.
Okay. Now we're going to put a link up on the screen now for that. And just before we end this as well, one of the questions that I'm sorry I didn't get to as well. Can we just talk about some of the Pleiadians that you do channel, just very briefly?
Oh yeah. Well, I love talking about my family. I love being with them. I channeled my brothers, Aaron and Bostro, and I saw them through my third eye in an astral visit to the Pleiades when I was in the temple, in the light temples. And so I saw them very close, and I've seen them many times through my third eye. I always try to go up and visit them. I'd like to visit them more than I'm allowed to. I have to get permission from Bata to go. But I very much enjoy being with my soul brothers. Leah is a sister. She's young and lively and energetic and lighthearted and very playful. I asked a couple of people who they most enjoyed or resonated with in the book, and it was interesting because they said Ptah, who is extremely wise and ascended master, and then they said Leah, who's 14. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then there's Mira. She's a healing student, very, very beautiful. It was hard to capture her gorgeousness when I saw her. The artist I worked with was fantastic and did a great job. He said that he kind of felt Mira's presence with him. And then there's Harmon, who's also pictured in the book. I've done a lot of work with Harmony, as is also known. He's works with the higher and the lower selves and the connection. And for many years, I was disconnected from my higher self, and that was not a fun time on this planet. So I do treasure knowing Oshala and being her here on the earth. So he's been a great teacher for me, and he's a great friend. And then, of course, Ptah. Then there's Semyazi, who is in Ptah's lineage. She's very much very active in the Space Command, in the Pleiadian Space Command. You would see her beam ships, her beam ship around. She's very, very present around the Earth. I saw Ptah and Semyazi and Quetzal. I didn't see them, but I saw their ship in Mount Shasta in the physical, and I interacted telepathically with the ships and the colored lights. And then there's Randall, a young student of Ptah's and the colleagues of mine. And I think I've got that's it. But they're all individual. They all have their own personalities. They're distinct when they come to visit me, and I can tell their personality. I can different. It's a facet of the oneness that they're all unique and lovely in their own way. I find it interesting, their personalities. But however they come and whenever they come, they always, of course, are in love.
And that particular group comes through because they are family connection.
But they're connected to many of the Pleiadians on the earth. They might be my brother and sister, but they could be the twin flame or the twin soul of another Pleiadian on the earth. Ptah has many students on the earth, and Randall's in the light school, so he has lots of friends here. Leah's family is here, so it's not just my family, because like Oshala said, we're all connected, and it will be interesting to see how we are connected. So they have relationships to many people on the earth. So that was one of the reasons also that I was to bring them forward and bring their pictures out, because they're looking to connect here with their star and soul family. They're not just my family.
And how old do they live to?
Oh, a long time. Like Leah said, Ptah, well, he's older. He's pretty old. And I can feel him smiling at me. I think, he probably looks, you create your own body. But he chose a more mature body through my third eye in this lifetime. I've heard, and I'm guessing, is around 900 or so.
Incredible, and they're also part in your book. It talks about they're also part of a galactic council as well.
Aaron and Mira are on the Galactic Council. He's an ambassador of light, and Mira's on the High Council.
The incredible thing about this is the amount of authors, and not Pleiadian authors, but authors who have talked about that there is such thing as a galactic council. And when I read that in your book, I was like, wow, yeah, there's lots of little validation if you just have met certain people who have said the same thing, and you wouldn't know these people, but I'm generalizing here, but it's incredible, and and it's not just Earth they keep coming to. I mean, they travel all over the galaxy, interacting with different races, don't they?
All over. That's what Rando was talking about. He collects rocks and crystals from the universe, from his galactic travels.
It sounds like a very busy place out there compared to the pictures that were shown on TV.
Yeah, it's so exciting, isn't it?
Oh yes.
Well,
yeah, absolutely. And I was interviewing someone just the other day. It was a UFO interview, and he for most of his life he had, been using ultraviolet cameras. Still ultraviolet film and UV film cameras as well to capture what wasn't visible by the naked eye but could be seen on ultraviolet.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and it showed one busy sky, but there was an incident back with NASA back in 1996 when there was a Tether Incident when a tether left the International Space Station. And they had the UV camera on, and you can type this into any search engine, or YouTube, the NASA Tether Incident. And when the UV was on, the traffic movement of objects in the background was just incredible, and the size of them as well.
Cool. Gosh, I just get chills about that.
Yeah.
It's good chills, like remembering it and knowing.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff. What would you say, Katie, is the most important message of your book?
Be the love on the planet that you know you are.
Yep, and it all comes down to that, doesn't it? The love. Yeah, it's the love side of it. That is the most important part of it, and and it's simple as well.
Yeah, it is really simple, and yet it can be difficult. Sometimes we trace our day, and I look and I say, was I loving to everyone? Was I kind? Was I loving? Was I light? Was I thinking good things throughout all of my day? So it's a process. It's very simple. It's just. And I know if everyone was love on this planet, we'd be in a very different place in space.
And that's where we're heading to. I do truly believe that. I do. I do. Well, Katie, it's been a fascinating interview, and I highly recommend people get the book, because we've only just brushed on a few bits and pieces here, and there's 104 pages here to read through. Katie Sparks, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, and thank you for helping me do my mission on the planet. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Well, we've come to an end on tonight's show, and don't forget that you can listen and watch all our past interviews on the More Show's official YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for new daily shows. You may also find out more on all past and upcoming guests on the show via themoreshow.co.uk, and do like us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest updates. So until next time, be safe.